back at Belmont Park as we close out week number 1 of our 8-week Belmont Fall Championship Series, and we'll be honoring the former champion Royal Delta as the first running of the Royal Delta will be run later today. The possible favorite, Byrne, coming off a win, the Grade 3 Molly pitcher, last time out on Haskell Day at Monmouth Park. Belmont Park Live is brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Well, we've had some dry days, we have some wet days, but it rained today, and it's been raining off and on for a big part of the last 24 hours. We are sloppy. Track is sealed. We're off the turf. All races on the sloppy main track. Andy Serling, joined by former Major League Baseball player, but I know him as a horse player, Paul LaDuca. How are you, Paul?
Good. Doing well, Andy. Obviously, the rain is tinkered with the card a tiny bit, and we only got 4 horses to start off the late pick 4. But I thought the last race was a tough race that you maybe can get a little bit of a price, and we do have a good future, at least on our hand, and a good horse.
I agree. I look at that, the Royal Delta, and obviously she was a tremendous champion. 5-horse field, I think 4 of them have major chances in that race, and we've got a very nice 2-year-old race coming up in race number 7. We saw some good 2-year-olds earlier on the day, but burned. Coming off that win at Monmouth Park last time, I would argue, Paul, she might have moved a little soon in this race, and I think it makes her margin of victory look a little bit smaller than it could have been.
Yeah, you're right. She's 5 for 15 lifetime silly by Bernardini, as you could imagine. A lot of horses coming out of this race that you're going to see in here. You're going to see Dreamcatcher out of here, out of this race. Dream Call, is going to run a good second. You could argue that maybe Dream Call was better, as you can see, getting to Byrne late. But the thing about Byrne is she does have a couple good races over a wet surface, and the last one you see there is her best race, at least on paper. And like I said, she likes to win races, so she's the one to beat for Grand Motion.
She is, but she's going to have to show that she can do it in New York, because her races in New York have not been as good as they've been out of town. Want to let people know, no better way to play the races than to play through NYRA Bets, a $200 new member bonus. The promo code, it's Belmont Live. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime through NYRA Bets. Go through the 4 races we'll be covering on today's show. We'll start out, as we said, off the turf. We're going 1 mile on the sloppy sealed main track. Number 7, maiden special weight for 2-year-olds, 6.5 furlongs. The Royal Delta, a mile and a 16th, is the feature. Off the turf, the finale, 2-year-olds going 1 mile and a 16th. I want to remind you that our track conditions, our weather and track conditions, they're presented by Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray of Belmont Park. Piranha on, pests off.
I was asking you.
We don't mind the rain here at Belmont Park, but Paul and I are covered up here at Belmont Park, so it's a little bit easier for us than it is for the 3rd member of our team. As you can see, the 4 are lining up. Papa Shot, who does like a wet track, the favorite right now, but he's going to have to catch Brimstone on the front end, Paul.
Yeah, you know, I put my selection next to Papa Shot. I don't know about even money. You're right. Brimstone benefits the most because there's not a lot of pace in here. He's going to have to probably deal with Mo Diddley early. How about the entered main track only is your longest shot on the board in here?
It does happen sometimes. Brimstone's a horse that I don't think Connections minded that it rained. 3rd member of the team, well, she's down in the wet paddock. A little jealous of Paul and I. Maggie Wolfendale, the Paddock Report is brought to you by Hillendale.
Well, Andy, I've lived in the Northeast my entire life, so I have the right clothes when the weather throws this our way, but that's okay. We get to play here in today's 6th race with 4 horses, but 4 horses that you got to make cases for nearly all of them. As we'll begin, though, with Brimstone, you have to think that John Toscano was thinking and knowing that this rain was in the forecast when he entered Brimstone in the body of this off-the-turf event. And Brimstone, while he hasn't won at this flat mile distance, you could say that given the dynamics of this race, he could be in the right kind of spot. Because he has the speed, going 1 mile here seems to be ideal. He looks tremendous, and he has all year long, as he's been very popular in the claim box, going from one barn to the next, and he definitely runs well for anybody that he seems to be trained by. So I like Brimstone here. Again, he looks tremendous, and I like the fact that he's sharp and the likely pace setter in here, though the argument could be made, too, that speed hasn't been all that great here today. As number 5, Papa Shot, he will be really hoping that is true. And this is probably the spot that Linda Rice has wanted to run Papa Shot in. He's kind of expended all of his conditions, and entering him MTO here just made a lot of sense for the 40. She too knew probably that this race would be coming off. And you know, it seems as though we can't quite win that 2X condition against open, so this is just the right spot for him. And he handles a wet track, and he looks tremendous here. His energy is where it needs to be. I like what I'm seeing from Papa Shot here, Andy.
Yeah, I think Papa Shot's connections were particularly happy when they saw the rain. Obviously, as an MTO, wouldn't have gotten in if we hadn't come off the turf, but the wetter, the better for him. And Papa Shot, you know, he's not as good as he once was, but Paul, as we go 3 back with him, he certainly ran well enough behind the future Alydar winner Realm when he almost caught him at Belmont Park.
Yeah, he did. And this is probably the race you have to go to, right, to get to where he gets into the winner's circle. And the wet surface does not hurt him at all. He's been on it 5 times. He does have a win with 4/3. But you're right. He sort of woke up in this effort, and I have a feeling that Belmont is that kind of racetrack now. He's in attack for the first time in a long time. I mean, not a long time. He's in for 40, which
lowest he's ever been in
lowest
for.
he's ever been in for. But
lowest he's ever been in for attack.
There's 2 other horses in here that have speed, and he's tactical. He probably is going to be last of this field of 4, but he's not going to be that far behind.
Yeah, and you know, Maggie brought up a very good point down in the paddock. We're not exactly seeing speed holding. I mean,
True.
I would say the races are being run very fairly out there, and it's one of the things that's nice around here about these wet tracks. Our maintenance crew does such a good job. We saw it a lot in Saratoga as well. Gives a fair chance to closers as well. You hate to think it just gives a speed horse a chance and the closers have none.
No, you're right. I think the faster you sort of go on this track, the tiring it's got. You're right. I mean, if you get an easy lead, you can still win. But if it's contested, it seems like it's been the horses with some late kick, at least the first 4 or 5 races.
2 back, we saw. Well, we'll take a look at Brimstone after the horses hit the track. I think one of the keys to the race, Paul, also, what does Mo Diddley do?
Yeah.
Because if Mo Diddley puts pressure on Brimstone early, then Papa Shot, the race may just fall in his lap. If not, Brimstone might be able to wire the field. But Mo Diddley, a horse who started out with a career out with high aspirations, but running on the turf lately, he goes out for Mark Cassie and John Velasquez.
Well, you make a great point of the son of Uncle Mo. He won his first race going 4.5 furlongs, so he has to have a little bit of pace. Maybe he's the one that contests it with Brimstone.
The number 2 is Brimstone. Manny Franco has the mount for John Toscano.
You know, 8 for 31 lifetime, 4 for 9 over wet surfaces, so it does have affinity for a little bit of rain, but can he get the lead from the 1 early? If he does, he can control things here.
The number 4 is Broadway Bay, another horse who likes a wet track, going out for Jeffrey Englehart, returning to Belmont Park with David Cohen.
Yeah, you're right. 5 for 12 over wet tracks. No disgrace losing to the control group. The worry is 0 for 6 over the Belmont Oval.
And rounding out the field, number 5, Papa Shot. Linda Rice, Barry Schwartz, the team that brings you Voodoo Song. Javier Castellano, the hot riding Javier Castellano with the mount.
Had some good races, and looks like he's ready to maybe cross that barrier, but I don't know if 4 to 5 is the right price.
Yeah, I think it's a real question. We welcome Prime Ticket, Fox Prime Ticket, joining us out in the West Coast here at Belmont Park for a sloppy, sealed day off the turf here at Belmont Park. You know, it's hard. You look at Papa Shot, I don't know. I don't think even money's that unfair a price. I'll tell you what surprises me looking at the board. How is Mo Diddley 2 to 1 and right now a shorter price than Brimstone? And I want to take a look, Paul, at Brimstone, the race 2 back at Saratoga. It was somewhat of a controversial race, as Brimstone did drift quite a bit in the stretch, and there were a lot of people. And I bet Brimstone and thought he was going to come down. He ended up staying up. It was a wet track. This was a 2-turn mile and 1/8, though. Maybe a little more demanding than the 1-turn mile today.
That's a good question. Because you see, as you see, he keeps drifting out with the right-handed urging. I think that's why he didn't get taken down. I don't know why. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Maybe he has to go a little bit faster, though, early. Can he get away from the 1 early? And I'm also with you on the assertion of why is the 1 2 to 1 in here? He's going to have to deal with the 2 early, put that horse away, and then have to deal with Papa Shot and Broadway Bay right behind. And the horse looks tremendous on the racetrack.
You know, Mo Diddley's a funny horse, Paul, because when he first came out, this is one of these things. He ran a 56 Bayern. You and I are big fans of speed figures in general, whichever speed figures we do. And I remember a lot of chatter from the Cassie barn, oh, this is our best 2-year-old. I'm like, well, he ran a slow race and he broke his maiden. It turned out the maiden figure actually held up. He just wasn't that good in the dirt. He's turned out to be pretty proficient on the turf. I mean, they thought he was a good horse in the turf once. So, I mean, the dirt once. Is he going to show it today? But he's going to duel. Forget about he's going to duel with Brimstone and then hold off Papa Shot. I just don't see it.
Well, I do know this. This horse is owned by Cheyenne Stables and Mr. Gary Barber, and I love Mr. Gary Barber. He's one of the best in the game, and he likes to fire a little bit, so maybe he's got a little bit to do with this. But, yeah, I mean, it's tough to take 2-1 on a horse that has to, I guess, I know
deal with a better speed and then hold off.
Yes, and then on a horse like Brimstone that's won 8 races, pretty seasoned. You know, Mo Diddley's young. I know there's more upside maybe on the one, but I just don't see it happening. And then you got Papa Shot and Broadway Bay sitting in the wings, but maybe we're wrong.
Well, Broadway Bay is a horse who's turning back from 2-turn races, and I know Maggie Wolfendale has some thoughts on that one.
Yeah, I mean, Mo Diddley has only won 2 races. Broadway Bay has won 16. I mean, there's a big difference. This horse definitely knows his way to the winner's circle. I know he's running cheaper spots in the past, but, I mean, he did run against Papa Shot last time up at Finger Lakes and did finish in front of him, albeit behind Hit It Once More and Winston's Chance, but I can't fault this horse, guys. I mean, maybe he's not quite as good on a wet track, but warming up over it, he's looked great to me. Beneath David Cohen, he looks strong. He's well-muscled. He's carrying his weight well. You know, for a horse that's 8-1 in the face of Papa Shot, who's 6-5, this guy's saying value to me. I'd be playing him 5-4 here, using Broadway Bay if Brimstone, you know, it gets worn down on the lead. I think this horse looks great, and he matches up much better. Let me put it this way. I'd much rather take Broadway Bay than Mo Diddley here.
I'm with Maggie. I think Maggie makes extremely valid points here. I mean, you don't want to just be as simple as horse A beat horse B, but you're not talking. I mean, if Papa Shot and Broadway Bay were both 8-5 in here, we went for Papa Shot, and Broadway Bay handles a wet track very well. She's dead right. This horse is 8-1 rank outsider here. I have to say, Maggie makes tremendous points.
As the one continues to go down 8-5 as we keep, it's amazing.
Right, well, we're getting the horse to the winner's circle. Clearly, people are honing into the show. Maggie hates it. I hate the horse. You're not excited about him.
Right.
How can he possibly lose this race?
You know, you look at the turf races. They are good. I get it, 5-7, and then they went around 2 turns. And the horse has passed a lot of different tests. And I get it. He could be a better 3-year-old. But just on paper, it's tough to take 8-5 in a 4-horse field when you have just warriors like Papa Shot and, like Maggie was saying, Broadway Bay with 16 wins and Brimstone with 8 wins. And Brimstone's probably got the speed advantage on you.
Isn't the horse that's kind of chilly on the board Brimstone? I actually thought he'd be vying for favoritism. I mean, listen, there's still a minute to go, and the odds could change a lot, but I thought that he would be vying for favoritism with Papa Shot.
Yeah, just because I think because the 1 is looming is the reason why the 2 isn't the favorite, because see how fast they do go. And what we were referring to earlier, speed might not be good today. It might be better off to be a tiny bit off the pace. So maybe the public's thinking, maybe Brimstone doesn't want to be on the lead. And a lot of people don't like to see horses leave Rudy Rodriguez's barn and then jump up in class. But this isn't a jump up in class. It's a 4-horse field.
No, right. I think you just have to sort of look at the dynamics. And I'll tell you one thing. The money says that Mo Diddley is live. If that's the case, he's got to show speed here. That can't be good for Brimstone. No. And it's probably good for both Broadway Bay and Papa Shot.
And Papa Shot, yeah, you're right. If the board's telling you the one's going to show some speed here, I don't think that the one's going to be laying off the lead.
Well, we'll see how things pan out. The foursome's getting in the gate. John Imbrial has the call.
Broadway Bay and David Cohen going in, and the final horse is Papa Shot and Javier Castellano. And the field is in line, just about ready for the start in this 1 mile off the turfer. And they're off. And it's Brimstone and Mo Diddley to go out for the early lead. Mo Diddley on the inside and Brimstone on the outside. And these two hook up early with Mo Diddley now poking ahead in front. Brimstone right there on the outside in second. It's a break of 3. Back to Broadway Bay in third, and Papa Shot is fourth. As they race up the backstretch, Mo Diddley gets clear by a little more than length. Ran the opening quarter in 22 4/5 seconds. Brimstone runs in second, almost 4 lengths. Back to the 2 trailers, Broadway Bay and Papa Shot. It's Mo Diddley on the lead here by a length and a quarter. Brimstone is in second. Now almost 5 lengths back to Broadway Bay and Papa Shot as the field goes around the far turn. The half was sharp, 45 and 4/5 seconds. Over the off-going, Mo Diddley continues to lead here by a length. Brimstone is in second. Now it's 4 lengths, and Papa Shot has moved into third with Broadway Bay at the back. It's Mo Diddley who will take the field to the top of the stretch. Mo Diddley has been in front right from the start, now has a 4-length lead as they come into the stretch. Mo Diddley and John Velasquez in front with 1/8 of a mile to the finish. It's Mo Diddley by a half dozen lengths. Papa Shot is in second, and then Broadway Bay in third. Mo Diddley rocks and rolls his way home to victory here. Mo Diddley, wire to wire. Papa Shot was second, then Broadway Bay and Brimstone.
Well, it's a common theme around here. When the money shows, the money is often smart. Mo Diddley, Manny Renko foolishly rated Brimstone, who's never won without the lead. And Mo Diddley just cruised on the front end, Paul.
Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. When they break up on top, it doesn't matter how fast you go. When your horse has never, ever won while being in second place, why would you ever place the horse in second place? And at the time, one of the two were battling for the lead, decided to give the one the lead. Race is over here. The board told you that the horse was going to be, or at least show some speed, and they didn't even really go that fast. 111 flat. The two's gone faster. You can see the two's backing up. It's not his day, but it was certainly the one's day.
An unpressured lead on a wet track, even one that's played relatively fairly, can be very, very difficult. Papa Shot, I mean, he didn't even make much of a run as it turned out anyway. It's not like he lost by a length and a half and ran into him. Mo Diddley ran a fast race today, faster, in fact, than a nice-looking 2-year-old did earlier in the card. The money was right on Mo Diddley at the end of the day.
It really was at the end of the day. And the board showed that the horse was going to show speed. Speed has not been great today and just took it right to the 2, and the race was really, really over.
No, I agree. I mean, once you saw Brimstone was not taking a run at him, you knew he was going to be able to control up front. And the question was whether or not he could run in the dirt. Well, he certainly handled the slop today. Never been in a sloppy track before, but I think Mo Diddley's connections, very wise move by them, staying in this race off the turf. He looked like maybe he wasn't a horse in the dirt, but on the sloppy track today, he absolutely loved it. John Velasquez, Mark Casse, Gary Barber, et al. Get it done with Mo Diddley. More to come.
This graded stakes winner and multiple Grade 1 performer by Tapit has become one of the nation's leading sires of 2-year-olds. Ranked #1 in his crop by number of winners, he sired 11 stakes horses in 2017, including graded stakes winners Wild Shot and Oklahoma Derby winner Untrapped. At the sales, his yearlings have sold up to $480,000. Trap Shot, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Rushes out of there to take the lead. It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Welcome back. You're watching Belmont Park live, and Mo Diddley splashed his way to the winner's circle here in race number 6, joined by assistant to Mark Cassie, Jamie Begg. And Jamie, this is a horse you've had experience with. In the face of leaving him in against 3 proven dirt horses, he switched to this surface pretty effortlessly.
Yeah, you know, I mean, he's done okay, like training on the dirt. He's not one of those grass horses that purely will only train well on the, you know, run good on the grass and not really work well on the dirt. So, and we'd scratched him last time because of the soft turf, so we kind of decided we couldn't just keep being picky. He was never going to run. So they left him in, and Johnny just said in the paddock, he's like, the speed's outside. He goes, what do you think? And so I gave him the go-ahead to just go if he wants to.
You let Johnny do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I said, you do what you want. I said, you're smarter than me. So,
Jamie, he's also a horse that, as Andy was saying, Mark was fairly high on him when he broke his maiden first time out as a New York bred. Is he kind of living up to that now as a 3-year-old?
Yeah, like, I've always liked the horse since I had him. You know, I mean, he ran in a few spots, and he got a little away from the New York bred stuff once he proved that. And so I think he's back where he belongs with the state breds. So he's, you know, I mean, he's a nice horse, but he is what he is.
He's a New York bred. They're always handy to have here around Belmont, Saratoga, and Aqueduct. Jamie, job well done with Mo Diddley today.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, guys, as you said, maybe he's living up to his potential now.
Thanks a lot, Maggie. Jamie Begg doing a sensational job as the assistant trainer for the Cassie stable in New York throughout the year. Really terrific run this winter at Aqueduct. Did well this spring and summer at Belmont Park as well, and picking up right where he left off. Well, a lot of good reasons you want to be a member of Naira Bets, and we'll get to that in a sec. But Mo Diddley, Paul, I didn't like him. You didn't like him. Maggie didn't like him. You know what that means. Winner's circle.
Yeah, congratulations to Mr. Barber and Cheyenne Stables. Andy Beadnose, New York bred by Uncle Mo out of the Vindication mare, Miss Bodine. Now 3 for 8 lifetime. The money showed up. The money was right.
And once again, playing through Naira Bets, many different things available to you, including a 20% winner's bonus on the early pick 4 at Los Alamitos every racing day as they head through September, every day of the meet. Los Al. Head to NairaBets.com for much more information. The Naira Bets late pick 5, well, you look at it and you see 640 and 530. I'm going to say it's not a bad start, Paul.
Not a bad start, because Hayfield was 8-5 on the morning line, so I think people went 2 or 3 deep there, and then Mo Diddley, I think people went 2 or 3 deep there. So you're right. I think they're going to play more like $8, $7, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, I think it's not a bad start. And listen, you got to take what you can give you, especially when you have smaller fields like that. Things may open up a little bit more here, but as we look at the 7th race, 2-year-old maidens going 6.5 furlongs on the main track, and this race, of course, was scheduled for the main track as well. Chad Brown has 2 in here, but the one who's taking the most money is the tipped horse, and I've heard stories in this horse for a few weeks. Looking at bikinis, the 4.
Yeah, and the hunch, I guess the hunch play is the other horse is Bring the Dough. So I guess they're bringing the dough for looking at bikinis, who's been working well in the morning. Cutting Humor, the 7 for Todd Pletcher, a $400,000 purchase, the son of First Samurai, who stands for $15,000. So that's a pretty hefty price. Is right now currently your second choice.
And the 7, Cutting Humor, is a horse who has a Claiborne Farm pedigree. Javier Castellano started that Saratoga meet on fire, and he turned out to have a tremendous meet. Well, he's been even hotter here at Belmont Park. We're going to catch up with him when Belmont Park comes back in just a few moments.
Bayern turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome is third. Shared Belief laboring back to in fifth. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The 3 of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York-sired New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a second time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close second in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires, 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes, and world record setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
I'm Javier Castellano.
Roses apart, cloud computing. So it is Javier Castellano getting the Preakness.
And I'm a jockey. I really like to be jockeys. It's in my blood. My father was a jockey for 25 years. Love the sport, but the one thing my father, he don't want me to be jockey. It's a dangerous sport and a lot of sacrifices, and he changed his mind. He decided to help me up. He want me to finish high school in my country, Venezuela. My father was the biggest influence in my career, my life. It's my idol, and it's something I always look up for. One of my biggest wins in my career could be Ghost Hopper, 2004. He won the British Cup Classic.
And Ghost Hopper is pulling away impressively. And a pumped-up Javier Castellano. They have soundly defeated Roses in May. This was a no doubt about it winner.
He put me in the map. He put me in basically another level. And very successful, win 4 Clis Awards back-to-back. I think it's pretty amazing. 5 travel in Saratoga. I think it's pretty great achievement in my career.
And here on the far outside comes Keen Ice with a light red. American Barrel put away Frosted. He has to deal with Keen Ice. Keen Ice has got him. Keen Ice has won the Travers over American Pharaoh in a dramatic upset.
I always looking for target in my life, always looking for goal, and I've been very lucky, fortunate, being to ride the best horse in the country, a lot of support, the biggest trainer in the country, the biggest owners and the racing. And I've been very fortunate, you know. I've been working hard for many years for try to enjoy this moment right now. To be inducted to the Hall of Fame, I mean, it's great. I mean, it's something any athlete and any sport is looking for that big level, you know. Thought, you know, and soon or later it's gonna come, but I didn't expect it that quick. To be father with 3 kids and my family, be part of my family, is a great moment in my life, you know. Spend the time with them, spend the Monday, Tuesday, my dark day off, and spend it with them and play baseball with the little boy and my girl, they play tennis. It's amazing. My wife being support my career, amazing, because if without her, I think it would be nobody in charge. You know, I think it's one part of my success in my career, to be married with my wife and with the 3 kids. I think that helped me to motivate in my career.
Been a great career so far for Javier Castellano, and it's still going on. Comes off a great second-place finish at Saratoga, the standings, and it's been Javier and Manny Franco dominating so far here at Belmont the opening weekend. Now, to be fair, Irad Ortiz, I believe, is sitting out with a suspension. Jose Ortiz has been down at Kentucky down to some other riders, but Javier's right at the top of his game right now.
Yeah, he really is, and I think it's going to be hard to catch him, especially you can't spot a guy like him 8 wins. I know the boys will be coming, the brothers, but he'll probably get a couple more. Yeah,
it's a big lead.
Yeah, it is.
Soft pace, big lead. Well, looking forward to today's 7th race, actually. Now, we've seen some good 2-year-olds a little already on today's card, and Chad Brown's got 2 in here. Well, he had 2 horses a little bit earlier today in today's 3rd race. One of them was a very highly touted horse, Paul, named Aurelius Maximus, who ran at Saratoga. We saw the real one today.
Yeah, he had some issues out of the gate the first time he ran. I thought he got a tremendous education. He ran into a Steve Asmussen horse that just ran unbelievable that day. I think this horse right here is the real deal. And let's be honest, Gladiator is up there on a lot of people's lists. And if you're going to name a horse Albertus Maximus, it's pretty or
Aurelius Maximus.
Aurelius Maximus, excuse me. It's a pretty good name.
We already had an Albertus Maximus, didn't he?
Aurelius Maximus, sorry. Yeah.
Good horse.
This horse is the real, like I said, and the Pletcher horse that ran 3rd was supposed to be okay. He's left not. The horse, he's not. The horse that he left in the dust ran 2nd to Mucho when Mucho won by 8. We know that Mucho didn't run his greatest race, but I think this horse has got a big future.
And when he lost his debut at 6 furlongs, I talked to Chad Brown shortly thereafter, and he said he wasn't disappointed at all. thought he ran fine. He said, I'm looking forward to getting back to Belmont. He said to me, first weekend, I'm going to run a flat mile on the Belmont dirt, and he'll win. And he did. And it's a horse we're going to see either in the Champaign or in the Breeders' Futurity in Kentucky, onwards and upwards as they head towards the Breeders' Cup. Race number 7, 2-year-olds as well, and you just can't escape Chad Brown. He's got 2 runners in here, including the current 8-5 favorite, the 4, all looking at bikinis.
Yeah, son of looking at Lucky. Yeah, and he has Bring the Dough. It's not really getting played as the son of Bernardini. You know, this is a horse that's been working bullets in the morning. Chad's horses don't usually work that fast, but that work 2 back is very quick.
Well, I believe his last work, he worked with Instilled Regard, who ran 4th in the Kentucky Derby, and the other 2-year-old that worked with him was Complexity, who won very, very impressed with a 90 buyer on closing day at Saratoga.
That was the buyer.
Looking at bikinis could be a very dangerous horse in here. Now, the other Chad Brown horse, that's the number 5, Bring the Dough. You know, you just don't really know. I mean, they're talking about looking at bikinis, and he just might be the one. I don't know anything about Bring the Dough. Joel Rosario, who rode Aurelius Maximus, has the mount.
Yeah, the thing that worries me is July 14th, the horse basically gets shipped back, or 2 weeks later gets shipped back to Belmont. So maybe Chad was thinking, okay, well, this is one of my 2-year-olds. It needs a little bit more time. Let's wait till Belmont. Bring the Dough, sort of much the same thing, but he sort of stayed here. He's been here since July, and maybe, looking at bikinis, excuse me, did the same thing too. So
they're not ready to run, and you only have limited number of stalls up in Saratoga, and you know you're not going to run them up there. You got to ship them.
It's a tough read, right?
Now, Cutting Humor, who's taking some money for Todd Pletcher. It's been just a disastrous summer so far for Todd Pletcher with his 2-year-old first-time stars particularly. The only one that won was put up by DQ in an off-the-turf race. And Cutting Humor, I don't think the workout reports have been too strong on this one.
No, they're not. What odds would you have gotten that Todd Pletcher won 1 2-year-old race at Saratoga?
With a first-time starter. Dirt race for the first time.
Dirt race and got put up.
A very, very big price. You know what's pretty good with these 2-year-olds, though? Maggie Wolfendale. Paddock Report is brought to you by Hillendale. Curlin standing for $150,000 at Hillendale. Take it away, Maggie.
Thank you, Andy. We actually have another Hillendale stallion in the roster, as we'll get to him in a second. But number 4, looking at bikinis, is your current favorite, 8-5. And I get it. I totally get it. This horse is ready. He's athletic looking. He has this big walk, which I like. And 2, given his physicality and what I see from him, he should not have any trouble whatsoever handling this surface. Now, he was purchased at the OBS April sale for $240,000, 21 4/5. And that's a little bit on the slower side, but what I will say is that he wasn't asked for that much, and he kind of really lowered himself well. The only concern I have about him in watching that sales workout is that maybe 6.5 is a little bit on the shorter side. He might, whoa, that was the first mishap I've seen from him. Feeling good under the rain, but you know, he might want to go a little bit longer than 6.5. But if he's good, he'll be able to win at this distance, no doubt. But maybe longer distances could be in his future. Chad will also send out number 5, Bring the Dough, and this one, lovely frame. Looks great. I like what I see from him, but as far as fitness, I just feel as though he's not quite totally there. And also, he has 2 gate workouts back to back. I mean, they were good. We'll see if that has any bearing on how he runs here today, but sometimes it means that maybe they're not quite as good out of the gate. But he's just that heavier body type where he might need a start. Moving on to number 7, that is Cutting Humor for Samurai, standing at Claiborne. He is a half to I Wish You Well, who is a horse who is pretty proficient in dirt routes, and that's still the vibe I'm getting from him, and that he might want to go longer than this. I mean, he's fit, he's well prepared, but just not striking me as an out-and-out dirt sprinter. As we'll move on to number 8, Jake Rocks. That is our Hillendale stallion in New Year's Day, and he stands for $5,000 at Hillendale. They paid $205,000 for Jake Rocks at the OBS Open sale in June, and he's one that worked 20 4/5, just hand urging, hardly ever felt the stick, and he's one that did not look as though he was going fast, and that's always a good sign. But on the flip side of that, this horse's last breeze, 2 breezes back out of the gate, he was crushed in the morning by a Ralph Nix horse who is a very lovely pedigree, a Tappet out of Horse of the Year in Haverty Grace, Graceful Princess, who did break her maiden first time out. Now, he did not break as well as her. She left him behind by about 5 lengths, but at the end, he was getting to her, which is promising. He's not one that looks as though he will be able to win first time out. Just seems a little bit green, not quite clued in. In fitness, he'll need to start to get things going. But he might be okay. We'll see if he can pick up some pieces here towards the latter stages of this affair as they are set and they are ready here, Andy.
Thanks a lot, Maggie. Always good to get that view from down in the paddock from Maggie. The number 6 Championship Alley worked 10 2/5 at the Ocala sale back in March, and we'll take a look actually at that workout. And thought this was actually a fairly nice work, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, this horse has been working okay, and if you look, Christophe Clement had been working the horse on the turf a couple times and then got him back on the dirt, and yeah, it worked good, very well. And taking not that much money right now, 13-1 for Loudmouth Racing LLC, but they paid $180,000 for something. I think it's for that early speed.
We'll see if how things work out for this horse. And Christophe Clement, while people think of him a lot as a turf trainer, he's had enormous success. I mean, in the dirt, and particularly with Tonalist.
Yeah, I think I remember doing this one day about him and him and Chad Brown always getting pigeonholed as turf trainers, but
it's nonsense.
It's
a good
so
horse,
nonsense.
A good trainer's a good trainer.
I want to say Christophe's 20% over his career, and Chad's like 24% over their career on dirt. So they're pretty comparable when it comes to that. So don't be discouraged.
Want to remind people, no better way to play the races, whether you're playing at Belmont or really any track, anywhere, and any time. $200 new member bonus. The promo code is Belmont Live. Head over to NYRABets.com for much more information. Enjoy the many great things that NYRABets has to offer. We'll talk about a first or the one strong one. I do want to talk about the 2 Larceny as well, who's one of 2 horses in here that has experience. The one strong one goes out for Robert Lepenton. Of course, he is one of the primary owners of Catholic Boy. And he's also been an owner of many good horses over the year, including Tara, who upset in the Belmont Stakes to beat Big Brown.
Yeah, you're right. For Nicky Zito. Debuts with Lasix and Manny Franco aboard. I thought this horse could be live, and 140,000 dialed in, who stands for only 25. Quiet American mares are some of the best mares you can find. So the pedigree is there. Don't really love the one hole, but you know, remember why Rudy can get him done.
Do you remember why Quiet American was a famous horse? Quiet American, I believe, was excluded from the Breeders' Cup, and then he didn't get into the Breeders' Cup Classic, and a week later ran a remarkably fast race, winning the Naira Mile, now the Cigar Mile, and a mile at Aqueduct. I believe it was the 1990 Breeders' Cup Classic.
He turned out to be one of the best broodmare sires of all time.
He was a terrific racehorse. He really was. The 2 Larceny, I thought, was a very interesting horse for trainer Brian Lynch. I mean, experience, we talk about this quite often, Paul, the importance of experience. And Larceny comes out of that very tough maiden race with Endorsed in the Head of Plan at Saratoga and had some early trouble in there. And obviously is a horse based in debut who can be much closer if he breaks cleanly.
Yeah, maybe something clicked in that last work. You see the bullet drill in 47, very fast. And second time Lasix, you're right. Endorsed is another 2-year-old you got to pay attention to.
Had a plan as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Endorsed was the Kieran McLaughlin horse who could well be the favorite in the Champagne, depending on things work out.
And if Head of Plan doesn't stumble.
Well, Head of Plan is a big drama who cost $475,000 in 2-year-old sales. Is very good. I mean, he's the only Klarovich, Chad Brown first-time star at Saratoga that didn't get the job done that was heavily touted.
Yeah, he stumbled a tiny bit at the start, and Endorsed got him. It would have been even closer. Both of those horses are the real deal. So, yeah, he comes out of a giant race.
Yeah, I think he's going to run much better today in experience. I mean, obviously not an experience in a wet track, but even I think a wet track would just sort of help that you've been around the track. The money, though, that look into bikinis at this point, it just can't be ignored.
No, it can't be. And when Chad takes money, they usually run. And when they show up with those last 2 drills, I mean, 48, 101, 48. I mean, he's just clicking them off, and had to get that 1 gate drill, and it looked like that was his best gate drill.
Yeah, I mean, I had heard about this horse actually at a dinner in Saratoga randomly with some of the people who were involved in the ownership of this horse. And I was trying to think of new names for it, actually. I wanted to name the horse Voyeur. Name was taken.
Oh, really?
Name was taken. All the good names are taken.
No, they really
They're just because people don't afford it. I guess you reserve names or something. You can reserve them for up to a year.
You can reserve them, yeah, for up to a year. I remember I tried to get Chin Music.
That's a good name for you.
And then...
That was taken?
It was taken.
That's a great name for a horse.
Yeah, I was trying to get it for a horse. But, yeah, there's a lot of names that are taken. And I'm with you, like, in other countries, we should acknowledge the great horses. They shouldn't be named in other countries.
Well, don't even get me started on the fact that there's a good 3-year-old filly in Europe named Forever Together.
I know, right?
Respect the fact that she was a champion in America. We shouldn't name our horses after champions there.
I'm with you, too.
But it is what it is as horses are making their way out the racetrack for today's 7th race. Today's 9-race card, the number 1, Strong One, the firster for Rudy Rodriguez. Manny Franco has them out.
Yeah, there's some hefty purchases in here, and this one, 140,000 Keeneland purchase, and Mr. LaPenta will send out this charge 12-1.
You know, that Strong One's a half to New Yorker horse, I'm sure you remember from these parts, turf and dirt. Number 2 is Larceny for Brian Lynch, and Joe Bravo looking for a second win today.
Needs to get out of the gate, comes out of a live race, and is taking live money.
Waiting on the number 3, Family Biz, a horse who also has some experience, but that was in a maiden claimer, Eddie Barker and Louis Reyes.
You know, this originally ran actually really well first time out, but it was for maiden 50. Now you're stepping up against the big boys now. Maybe for a piece.
Number 4, Looking at Bikinis. Javier Castellano looking for his 9th win in this short 3rd day of the meeting. Chad Brown.
Yeah, and looks composed as he gallops on the main track. Coming in here with a bullet drill, the horse to beat.
Bring the Dough, also for Chad Brown. Joel Rosario has them out.
You know, Bernardini doesn't do that great with his first-time starter, so maybe we'll wait down the line for this 3 Chimneys charge.
I believe Joel's looking for his 3rd win in today's card as well. The number 6, Championship Alley. David Cohen has them out for trainer Christophe Clement.
Could be very quick here, at least out of the gate. Show some really fast drills, but not showing up at the window, at least the money.
Starlight Racing firster with that Claiborne pedigree, Cutting Humor. John Velasquez has the mount for Todd Pletcher.
Yeah, that Claiborne pedigree has First Samurai, who was very good on the slop, so maybe a little wetness will help. This horse has got some flashy drills as well for Todd.
Maggie Wolfendale had some nice things to say about Jake Rox's workout. The 2-year-old sale, Dylan Davis aboard for Bobby Barbera.
Yeah, and anytime you see a horse that stands for 5,000 and then goes through the ring for 200,000, got to be a looker.
These 2-year-olds are going to make their way towards the gate. We're just 3+ minutes away from race number 7. Belmont Park Live on a sloppy Sunday will be continuing after a quick message.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome back. You are watching Belmont Park Live. Maggie Wolfendale alongside down here, and Andy Serling and Paul LaDuca upstairs on the studio set as we will take a look at some of these horses out on the track. They are 2-year-olds and they're going 6.5 furlongs. Some horses that are big prices in here include number 1, Strong One, not getting played that heavily, this son of Dialed In, who physically I definitely did not mind. Bigger, stronger looking type, beautiful long neck. And I always emphasize that long necks are good for racehorses because that means oftentimes that they have a longer stride. This guy, though, pretty studdish in the paddock. Just not on the business for his first start. Seemed to settle once he got out on track, though. And then Christophe Clement will send out Championship Alley. As the guys were saying, decent workout. I don't have a problem with that sense, but he just seemed a bit green for a Christophe firster and is wearing blinkers, which is something I don't see Christophe do that often with his first-time starters. He does look very strong in his hindquarters. So that could mean, though, with the blinkers, that he does have a bit of early speed. Will he implore it here today, or will he need the proverbial race, Andy?
We'll see if that's the case. I mean, listen, you know, you have to be careful with firsters that don't get bet, because I know right now you look at it and you say the number 6 horse in your Championship Alley is 17-1. It probably isn't live.
Yeah, it's
but
true.
We've seen firsters, especially on wet tracks. I mean, any horse could just freak on a wet track.
No,
right?
it's true. You never really know. They could be horses that you don't look good on form, and they could go. The 8's bred for it, and it's taking some money. The 8's the sneaky horse. The 6 is not getting played at all, which concerns me, as they're starting now to really flow the money in on the favorite.
Yeah, even money right now. It's interesting. I was looking at the 2 Larceny, the horse that we were talking about. That horse was 3-1, just jumped up to 4-1. Horses are heading into the gate. Just a couple left to load. John Imbrial, the voice of Belmont Park today, will head upstairs to get the call.
And we have 2 remaining. Looking at bikinis, the 4 horse and the current even money favorite, just going into the gate with Javier Castellano. And from the outside, number 8, Jake Rocks and Dylan Davis will be the last 2-year-old to move in. We've got a half dozen first-time starters in this field of 8. And they're going 6.5 furlongs, and we're set for the start. And they're off. And it is Looking at Bikinis who's got the early lead. Cutting Humor from the outside and Larceny at the rail. Those 2 are second and third. They've got 2 lengths on Jake Rocks, who's running in 4th. Family Biz is next in 5th. Strong One was off a step slow from that inside post and is now advanced into 6th. Bring the Dough is next in 7th. And the trailer is Championship Alley in 8th. The opening quarter in 22 1/5 seconds, and it's Looking at Bikinis in front here by a length over Cutting Humor, then a break of 3, back to a Larceny in 3rd, followed by Family Biz and Jake Rocks. Then it's Bring the Dough, who's up into 6th position, followed by Strong One as they come for the top of the stretch. The half was running 45-2. Looking at Bikinis is still there, still being chased by Cutting Humor. Looking at Bikinis in front by 3 lengths. Cutting Humor runs in 2nd. And then it's Family Biz next in 3rd. Looking at Bikinis got the lead right from the start, and Looking at Bikinis will win in his debut. Looking at Bikinis and the red-hot Javier Castellano.
Well, the money showed for Looking at Bikinis, closing at 4-5, and the money was right. Popped out of the gate. A few didn't break well, but Looking at Bikinis broke well and won. Geared down for Javier Castellano. Another win for him.
Yeah, 117 and change. It's actually not a bad time over this racetrack. And the 7 Cutting Humor, I'm going to give credit to, because he kept trying and trying and trying, but the favorite was just too much for him. The favorite cut out legit fractions over this racetrack today.
No, this is a fast race. I agree. I mean, you look at earlier that the Hay Fever.
Yeah, Hay Fever.
Who's been running 80 buyers in the mid-80s. I think ran 118 in that race, and this race went 117, just under 2/5. Very impressive. You think about Chad Brown. He had obviously a great summer with winners at Saratoga, but he also had just a bevy of 2-year-olds up there. Well, we've just run 3 days at Belmont Park. We saw Aurelius Maximus earlier today, a second-time starter, and Looking at Bikinis. So he has more than just the good-looking 2-year-olds he ran in Saratoga. He is loaded.
Yeah, and both of these horses are bred to go a little bit longer, and that's the scary part. Javier Castellano is just schooling these guys right now, putting these horses on the front end. You can see the 7 trying. By the way, give a little credit to Family Biz and Eddie Barker. You know, bumped this the son of Fed Biz up and almost got seconds, but has run back-to-back pretty good races.
No, I agree. And actually, Family Biz did run well at 23-1, but it was Looking at Bikinis. Javier Castellano riding for Chad Brown has already got, I believe, 4 wins so far in the 3 days at Belmont Park after the big Saratoga, continuing to do well. Belmont Park Live, we've still got 2 races left. Lots of good stuff coming up, including a potential favorite in the first running of the Royal Delta, Burned, for trainer Graham Motion.
This 3-time graded stakes winning millionaire defeated 20 Grade 1 winners. In the Dixie Stakes, he defeated Canadian champion and Horse of the Year Up with the Birds and set a new course record at Saratoga. Now the excitement is building as his first foals have arrived this year. Half to 4 graded stakes winners, Ironicus has the speed, class, and bloodlines to become the next great sire by Distorted Humor. Ironicus standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome back here. Well, the 7th race is in the books here on Belmont Park Live as Javier Castellano pilots another one to the winner's circle here. And Javier, looking at bikinis, was very professional and pretty fast in his debut.
He did, Maggie. Very straightforward horse. I like the way he did today. He broke well out of the gate. He did take the pace. He did it the right way. Then I spoke to Mr. Brown early this morning. I think I like with the horse, the way he trained in the morning, the way he does in the morning. I think it's going to be pretty huge future with the horse.
And looking at him, and he was putting, I know he set the pace, but he was putting a widening margin still between the rest of the horses. Is there any chance this horse could stretch out from what you felt today?
I think so. They give me impressive past the wire, galloping out very strong, heavy, strong. I think those kind of horses, you can stretch them out, no question about it.
And looking forward to your next mount, obviously for Chad as well, and no need stakes. Javier, you won on her last time. She's going to try the mount a 16th here. Considering she was in traffic last time and she bowled her way out and was running through the wire, how confident do you feel in the distance today?
I really like it today because I think it's going to, set it up good pay for her. And unfortunately, last time I was stuck in traffic a little bit, lucky and getting the right time in the moment. But today, I think a little more speed in the race. I think it was to set it up a little bit, stretch them out extra distance. I think it's going to set it up perfect.
All right, well, wishing you the best of luck, but congrats here. You're off to a very nice start to this Belmont meet.
Thanks a lot, Maggie.
All right, guys, that was Javier's 9th win in just 3 days here at this fall meet.
I gotta tell you, Javier's also getting very professional with the camera, Paul. I like the way he looks right at the camera. May have to get him up here one of these days. Nice.
He is pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, Javier's just a great guy, absolutely. And he does his homework. He does not win by accident. He's a guy who's always prepared.
Yeah,
nice win for looking at bikinis. 390 as the Chad Brown Express continues.
Yeah, congratulations, Long Lake Stable and Madagat Stables. Neil Jones, the breeder here, looking at Lucky at the Bernardini mirror. Bikini Beauty. Now 1-for-1 lifetime. So your late pick 5, now our late pick 5, $27 pick 3, but I think it's a little deceiving because you can get a little bit of value.
This probably wasn't $390 in the Naira bets.
No, and Mo Diddley wasn't $530.
I agree.
I think you're going to get a little bit of an overpay, but you got to beat the 5 here because the 5 has really played big.
We've had pick 3s that started out chalkier than this, pay a lot of money. There's still 2 races left to go, and I'll tell you, it's like, who knows what can happen in today's 9th race, and I really think that the Royal Delta is wide open.
Yeah,
Paul.
I'm with you. The Royal Delta could be no pun intended, a sneaky race, a sneaky Betty as 5-1, but Byrne is your horse to beat at 9-5.
Well, I'm excited that we have a race that's named in honor of Royal Delta because she was a tremendous horse. I can remember her breaking her maiden first time out by a pole here, closing weekend at Belmont Park in 2010, and it's really amazing what she did throughout her career. 6 Grade 1s for Royal Delta. The first running of the Royal Delta coming up after these messages.
Grade 1 winner Lee traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. A graded stakes winner on both dirt and turf, he set a new track record in the Grade 1 Don Handicap and retired with earnings of more than $2.3 million. Now his flashy first crop yearlings are turning heads with a striking resemblance to their internationally successful sire. The sky's the limit for this promising young stallion. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200.
The dramatic finish.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
And now the field turns for home. And here comes Royal Delta. Royal Delta, very impressive here. Very impressed is Jose Toscano. He's just looking back at the competition, getting farther away with every stride, and he hasn't even asked her to run. Royal Delta, this is a very, very promising filly. Royal Delta has crushed this field, has won by 14 lengths in an effortless effort, if you could call it that.
Royal Delta coming to them, less than a furlong to go, and Royal Delta takes the lead and pulls away, and Royal Delta goes on to win the Alabama
Plum Pretty going on for home gamely now. In the centre, it's Tricky, stretching her every yard of the way. Royal Delta's getting involved late as well. Plum Pretty along the inside. It's Tricky racing between them and Royal Delta. It's a thriller. Royal Delta's going to score. Royal Delta strikes the front, and Royal Delta, perfectly handled, has taken the Ladies Classic. She's won her division for the year too.
Here is a champion in action. Royal Delta striding past the 8th pole with a super effort here this afternoon. It's Tricky was no match for Royal Delta today. Geared down to a triumphant victory here in the Beldame, winning by 8 lengths. She could have won by much more than that.
And it's Royal Delta digging down for all she has, including the outrunning a huge one. My Miss Aurelia's between those two in with a late shot. Can Royal Delta hold on? My Miss Aurelia's trying to get her late. Royal Delta, My Miss Aurelia, here is a champion again. Royal Delta has won the Breeders' Cup Ladies Classic.
Royal Delta was everything you could possibly want from a champion. She was successful throughout her career. 2 Breeders' Cup wins, 6 Grade 1s, almost $5 million. Her Damn Delta Princess, tremendous producer. She was a nice turf horse, but not known as a dirt horse. I mean, what can you say about Royal Delta?
Wish I would have had her first time out. Was that just poetry in motion to have a horse that price just circle the field?
I didn't bet her, but I can remember it like it was yesterday. I mean, you heard it all in Tom Durkin's call. She was a tremendous horse. And I'll say something else. I made my network television debut when she won the Black-Eyed Susan. I was talking to Belmont, and they were showing it on TV, and I was caught talking to Bill.
Really?
So I think that was my network television debut. That's how good Royal Delta was. She put me on the map. The field for the Royal Delta, a couple of scratches. Divine Miss Gray, well, she won a 3-horse off the turf. Miss Penny down at, or Dr. Penny, I believe, down at Parks yesterday. Frosty Ann came out as well, but you've got 2 interesting newcomers. The Speed's the 1 and 3, and then you've got Burned, and you've got the horse who finished just behind her last time out in her last effort at Monmouth, Dream Call. Paul, what do you do here?
You know, I don't know. You could maybe argue that Dream Call was better, and here it is. They come from way out of it. This race sort of like falls apart a tiny bit, and you can argue that Joe Bravo hit the front a little too soon, and then you see Dream Call start making up ground here late.
Friend David Aragona's point with Dream Call. Now, I think Bird ran the better race. I don't trust her in New York. My friend David Aragona's point with the runner-up Dream Call is he feels, and I think he's right in watching the races, she's a horse that doesn't really run well in the turns, and she gets rolling in the stretch. She'd be suited perfectly for these big turns at Belmont Park if that's the case.
Well, it's the first time here, so I would not argue with that assessment as you look at the 5 Burn. Does have a win over this oval. It was a while ago. Then she ran in the Ogden Phipps. She just got no chance against those fillies, Abel Tasman and Ivy Bell.
I agree. I just think her better efforts have been out of town. Monmouth Park and Laurel as well. And I'm just a little worried about Byrne, but she should get a very good trip. But, you know, Dream called for the Asmussen barn. She's been training at Belmont Park for a while. And I'll tell you what, she is improving with every start.
You can't argue with that statement. She has improved with every single start. She launches from way back, but the pace doesn't have to be fast, doesn't have to be slow. She always brings her game. And last time you saw what she did in the Molly Pincher, but before that in Iowa Distaff, it's hard to make up that many lengths at Prairie Meadows. Closers just, it's not a closing racetrack. This horse just brings her late run every time.
The Speed looked home in that race, the Iowa Distaff, and Dream Call just ran by them all. Trying Stakes Company for the first time, the one No Need to Appeal. How does she work it out? I mean, it's funny because she was terrible in a sloppy sealed track at Saratoga, but she's handled a wet track here before. She's not getting the lead in this race with Come Dancing, but I'll tell you what, this was a great performance as she forced her way out. There was an inquiry here, but I think the stewards rightfully left it alone. The horse that she supposedly fouled finished nowhere and was going nowhere.
No, she wasn't. They're saying that they bowled her way out, but she was just trying to get out and get some rhythm, and then you can see her just take off right here. I mean, she exploded the last 10 to 15 yards when she got just shown the stick. She's a dangerous horse in here because she's never gone around 2 turns, and she's not going to today, and she does have a win at this distance.
At Belmont Park?
Yeah. Now, Come Dancing, the 3, does have a little bit of pace.
Come Dancing's going. She's going to have to sit second to that
one. So No Need to Appeal is going to lay a nice little tracking, little trip. I know that Chad doesn't really love that trip, but definitely is your second speed in here.
I think he'll be happy with that trip here. The question is whether or not, I think the real question there is whether or not she handles the track. Maggie Wolfendale in her usual spot down in the paddock. The paddock report brought to you by Hillendale, standing by her for 15,000.
Well, Andy, I have to share my Royal Delta memory, as I feel as though I will never live down the day that she debuted here. And I said, well, you know, she's big, she's good looking, but she looks more like a turf horse. And then she goes and wins by about 17 lengths. But I will still say that I would have loved to see her on the turf, and every one of her siblings thereafter have been turf horses. But anyway, we are dealing with these fillies and mares here, going the mile and a 16th over this sloppy going, and we'll take a look at kind of the new phase who finished behind Byrne last time in Dream Call. Now, she is a late runner. She's completely devoid of any early speed, and that's kind of, you know, evident in her physical makeup. She's this big lumbering type of filly, and I mean, I like her here. To me, she makes sense on paper and in the paddock. But the problem is we've never seen her on a wet track before. How is she going to handle it here? She's not really giving me any indications either way of liking it or not liking it. So we'll see what works out and if she gets that pace to close into. And that possible pace setter is number 3. And here come Dancing, who I've always thought looks like a filly who wants to run long. She's very tall, very much kind of all legs. And the fact that she is as fast as she has displayed on the track is kind of almost on the mind-boggling sense of things. The problem is, though, is that to me, she just doesn't look quite as good as what she did coming back in July 25th. It feels like that race and then subsequently running a week after that may have took the starch out of her a bit. So we'll see what she does here. But from the overall sense of things, looking at these horses, number 1, No Need to Appeal, is the best looking horse in here. She just represents herself as the one who looks as though she's doing best. I know she's won over a track listed as good, and maybe her sloppy track race up at Saratoga, it was a little bit too much on the short side. Still a little concerned about her handling, because she is that heavier bodied type, and sometimes they just don't quite splash through this as nicely as the lighter framed horses. So while she looks fantastic here, for me, Andy, the track remains a question.
I can't argue with anything you said, Maggie. I think, first of all, good point in the 2, never being on the turf before, the number 2, Dream Call. But I agree. You just don't know with No Need to Appeal. The obvious hope is that she's able to sort of let the 3 come Dancing get away from her and then drift out in the middle of the track and not get any dirt kicked in her face, which she did in Saratoga. She was down to the inside.
Yeah,
but listen, a lot of questions need to be answered in this Royal Delta Stakes. A very, very interesting matchup coming up after a quick break.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase, he won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe, running a 105 buyer and winning by open lengths. Mastery, new for 2018 at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates.
Off the turn with a length and a half lead.
Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200.
The dramatic finish.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to Belmont Park Live. Andy Serling, Paula Duca, and Maggie Wolfendale. Family Fun Day. Always a fun time here at Belmont Park. Yesterday, not great weather yesterday, worse today. But hopefully it'll be much better weather for the next Family Fun Day, scheduled for Saturday, September 29th. Day you won't want to miss. A lot of good stuff coming around here. Paul, did you get in the bouncy bounce?
No, but Papa Shot, who ran second earlier, P-A-P-A, Papa Shot, P-O-P, was just being played by that little boy. I'm pretty good at that.
Really?
Yeah.
You think you can take that kid on?
Yeah, I got him.
Think you can take him?
Yeah.
Okay, probably get word out. Maybe his parents can bring him back. Paul, take him on September 29th, next Family Fun Day at Belmont Park. And it's great to be back at Belmont Park. Obviously, the weather has not been terrific throughout the weekend, but we've got 33 more days of racing here at Belmont. There will be a lot of great weather days and great days here at beautiful Belmont Park. Horses are heading out to the track for the first running of the Royal Delta. Paul, you'll be able to say, I know where I was for the first running of the Royal Delta.
I know, right? Pretty excited.
I was at Saratoga, the first running of the Ballerina.
You were?
Yeah, I think the 23rd running or something was today.
It was today, yeah.
I know the second running featured Devona Dale.
That's pretty
well
good.
as some other Love Sign was in there. Some very, very good horses in that race. It's in the Air. It was actually the rematch from the year before when It's in the Air upset her in the Alabama big matchup. The number 1 horse, No Need to Appeal, is making her way out to the racetrack. Javier Castellano and Chad Brown looking to team up for 2 straight wins.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting whether she can keep up with Come Dancing early or she's just going to have to sit back and rate.
The number 2, Dream Call, going out for Steve Asmussen, assistant trainer Toby Sheets, Manny Franco with the mount.
Well, she leaves you a lot. She runs her races upside down, so she leaves you a lot to desire. Look for her late. She's an exciting horse. She likes to close.
I have to think John Velasquez and Carlos Martin said, let's go to the front with Come Dancing, the 3 horse.
Yeah, the complete opposite of the 2. Look for her to be in front here and try to steal this race.
The number 5, Burned, looking for 2 straight wins for trainer Graham Motion. Joe Bravo looking for his second today.
Yeah, maybe the sloppy racetrack helps her as well. She does have a nice win going 1 mile and 70 yards, but that was at Monmouth.
And the number 7, Sneaky Betty, Jomar Torres, back here at Belmont Park, where he had some success in a bug rider, going out for Claudio Gonzalez, the rank outsider.
You know, 4 starts ago, this horse went over a sloppy racetrack at Pimlico, and then ran second in the Delaware Handicap to late at 85-1. So maybe not without a shot.
See how things work out. It's an interesting race where you've got the matchup of speed and closers.
Yeah, you really do. You have the 1 and 3, right? Obviously, the 3 probably a little bit faster than the 1. Now, where does everybody else lay? I would think Sneaky Betty maybe lays behind those 2. And then you have Burned. And then Dream Call, I think, is dead last. But Dream Call is the kind of filly, she just keeps on coming. If Burned gets the jump, the 2 and the 5 are going to be rolling in this race. And that's just going to who's going to get the jump first? I would think the 5.
Well, Burned figures, I agree, to make the first move here as she did last time. Maybe not. And I think that's one thing that Joe Bravo has to be careful about. Don't move too soon.
Especially here,
because you got to be careful. I mean, that's the problem. And I think maybe he learned a bit from last time on. Even though she won Burned, she almost got burned.
What do you do with now the 7 Ugly Betty with those races now?
Or Sneaky Betty.
Or let me see. Ugly Betty is
Ugly Betty.
A show.
TV show.
Yeah.
She snuck by that TV show.
This horse has never been at Belmont. The horses sort of always carried a racetrack.
I mean, I think the one good thing about Stinky Betty is, to be fair, her recent efforts are her best efforts.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's one good thing. You want to see horses coming in the race off of good efforts. I feel bad for Maggie. She'll be carrying me around in this race. Number 1, No Need to Appeal. I have to admit, I would prefer it was a fast track, and Maggie mentioned that as well. Maggie Wolfendale, checking them out on the racetrack as we head down to her.
And Andy, you want to touch on the 2 outside fillies, both of which feel like horses. The riders need to time their rides right. And as you guys were saying, with Burned last time, Joe Bravo, well, he almost blew it. Moving very wide, sustained run around the turn. I will say with Burned, and while I think she is a filly that definitely handles a track like this, during the spring and kind of going into the summer when I briefly got to see her here in New York, she looked better then, which doesn't really make sense because she's coming in off of one of her better efforts in the Molly Pritchard. But I don't love her today like I have in the past. So we'll see if that has any bearing whatsoever on what we see today. I just feel as though she's carried a little more flesh and has looked stronger in those previous efforts. Now, number 7, Stinky Betty, she got a warm-up away from the pony beneath her regular rider, Jomar Torres, for Claudio Gonzalez. She looks fine. She matches up with these. Bothers me she was a beaten favorite last time out in a race at Thistledown, but I mean, I just feel as though, guys, she's just a little bit overmatched here, at least on form.
No, I agree with Maggie, and I think you do too, Paul. Stinky Betty is the rank outsider for a reason. She's a little slow. One thing I wanted to point out about the race that burned as well as Dreamcaller coming out of, that was on Haskell Day at Monmouth. And according to a friend of mine who plays Monmouth seriously every day, that was the deadest of rails to meet. And so the outside runs by Burned and Dreamcall were both enhanced by being out in the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah, maybe they were. Yeah.
Not to say they can't win today, just
no,
pointing
not
out
at
about
all.
that race.
Sneaky Betty, when we were talking about her, yeah, she is the rank outsider just because she's got to move up a little bit. Yeah. But, you know, with these kind of races, she can move forward.
In wet tracks, as you said, she's won a sloppy seal track before.
I'm surprised the 3 is your second choice. I think the public thinks this horse is going to get away from this group.
Well, she is. I just don't trust her. I'll tell you one thing. Come Dancing. I mean, let's be honest. Her 96 buyer when she won back at Aqueduct, that's possibly the best figure of anybody.
Of
she was good that day. And it's not like she's been bad in her last 2 races. I mean, I thought she actually ran pretty well in the Shine Again. And she may have been a little overbet at 4-1. And don't forget, her last race, the Shine Again, she was coming back just 7 days after that race that she won in July. And that was off a 6-month layoff. So she had a right to not run as well. She still ran well. And listen, we saw what the horse did 2 races ago, loosen the lead.
No, you're right.
She's too fast for this real deal early. She's gone.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, I mean, the one can stay with him with a couple lengths. It depends what Johnny V wants to do, how fast he wants to go early. And then the one just sits. He can make this a 2-horse race if he wants.
I think that Javier and Chad Brown, probably in a perfect world, would love to see Come Dancing clear. And then No Need Appeal can get outside of her. I think you worry about a horse that's had some trouble on sloppy seal tracks. Don't want to take dirt. You don't want to get caught. You certainly don't want to be inside in a duel. So you want to get to the outside and out in the clear where you're not taking much money.
No, that's true. And the 7, I think, lays that clear 3rd spot, Sneaky Betty. But we'll see if she's good enough.
Interesting chess match. They're almost in the gate. John Embrial has the call, the first running of the Royal Delta.
Sneaky Betty moves into line. A field of 5. And they're all 4-year-old fillies set to go 1 1/16. And they're off. Sneaky Betty away well. Come Dancing now moves up. No Need to Appeal towards the rail. It's Come Dancing who will grab the lead, and Come Dancing's in front by 1.5 lengths. No Need to Appeal runs in second. There's a break of 2.5 back to Sneaky Betty in third. Then Burned in fourth, and Dream Call is the trailer in fifth. Come Dancing is the leader. No Need to Appeal has moved off the inside and is on the outside of Come Dancing. The front 2 have opened up 4 lengths on Sneaky Betty. It's another 3.5 to Burned and Dream Call. The opening 1/4 mile over the sloppy going in 24 2/5 seconds, and it's Come Dancing with the lead here by 1 length. No Need to Appeal runs in second. It's 4 lengths, maybe 5, back to Sneaky Betty. 3 more to Burned, and a Dream Call is at the back. The opening 1/2 mile, 48 3/5 seconds. Come Dancing on the lead, midway on the turn. It's Come Dancing by a little more than 1 length. No Need to Appeal. Right behind in second. Then it's 3 lengths. The Sneaky Betty in third. Burned is down on the inside in fourth, and Dream Call is the trailer. Come Dancing challenged here by No Need to Appeal. No Need to Appeal makes her move now on the outside of Come Dancing, and Burned is down towards the rail. 3/4 in 1:13 2. They're inside the 3/16 pole. Come Dancing with something left here. Come Dancing has opened up on the field. Come Dancing by 4 lengths. Then No Need to Appeal and Burned, and Johnny Velasquez put Come Dancing on the lead, and she was never headed. Come Dancing wins the Royal Delta Stakes.
Well, it played out at least early the way we talked about before. Come Dancing too fast for these early. She got away with a very moderate pace, Paul, and Come Dancing, she ran, and she ran big.
Yeah, she did run big, and good job by Johnny V. You know, he got a tiny bit of pressure, toga pressure, and from the 1. But when asked right here, you're like, okay, she's in a little bit of trouble, but no.
It looked like no need to appeal was going right by her, but when the real running was done in the stretch, it was a one-horse race. They were moderate fractions up front, but there's a no doubt about it winner and Come Dancing, Mark Holliday's Blue Devil Racing Stable. She gets that coveted black type here with a nice win.
Yeah, she really does. And I think Byrne does get up for second here. It was, it probably would have been a little bit
with
close.
A 2-speed number.
Yeah, exactly. And Joe Bravo was trying to go inside. He had to go outside. He really
wasn't going to win. But
yeah,
why
wasn't going to win. Yeah, he shouldn't have ever been inside. But Come Dancing, that early speed. I'll tell you what, the early in the right money has been there. This horse was 8-1 on the morning line. I know there were scratches, but 5-2, your second choice, clear second choice, jogs here. They were right about the one earlier. They were right about this horse.
Yeah, you know, she's a horse that's been unlucky in her career because she had a very impressive debut, suffered an injury shortly thereafter, and was out, as you can see, for a long, long time. I mean, imagine if this horse didn't have as many stops and starts as she did. She could have had a very good career. She's obviously very, very talented.
There's Carlos Martin watching his nice little filly, and he doesn't have as many as he used to, but he knows how to condition them.
No, a nice win there for Come Dancing. Nice to see her get this black type. And listen, maybe it was the wet track. Maybe she got loose in the lead, but she's a horse that could have a bit of a future if she can hold it together. Nice to see Come Dancing get the win in the first running of the Royal Delta. Belmont Park will be right back.
Switches back to the outside. Exaggerator down to the 16th pole, but Exaggerator has turned the tables. He has won the Preakness. He has won the Travers over American Flag.
Irish War Cry has won the Wood Memorial.
Alice! Good Magic's gonna win his first race, and he's gonna do it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
The inaugural Royal Delta Stakes in the books here as you are tuning into Belmont Park Live and joined by the happy connections of Come Dancing, Carlos Martin and Mark Holliday from Blue Devil Racing. Carlos, I'll start with you. This filly, first time going long, mile and a 16th here. She looked so happy out on the front end. She was doing it very easily.
She was always a filly that had a lot of talent. We've had a lot of setbacks with her. Thank God I got a great client like Mark Holliday, was able to give us time on and off. And a couple of times it seemed like we weren't sure if we were going to bring her back to the races. As a 2-year-old, you know, she had a little problem in the pasture and we had to put some screws. But it's just a testament to the great horse that she is. She's always had a lot of talent, and Mark Holliday being a great client and being patient with the horses, and the horses always come first, which is something that's rare to find these days.
It truly is, and Mark, your patience has definitely paid off with her. And how happy were you to see her just cruising around this racetrack, and she picks up her black type that she deserves?
That's right. Well, we waited a long time for this day because spent a lot of time with this filly, and she had a setback at 2 years old, and we took our time with her this year. And under the careful training of Carlos. We finally got to stretch her out, see what she can do, and she just went to the front, and she loved this track, and Belmont's her place, and we're really just very happy for everybody involved. The guys at Ocala Stud who brought it back, Carlos who got it this circle, the filly really deserved it today.
She also likes aqueduct too, Mark. And you think about some of the stakes that we have there. Do you keep kind of going forward with these route stakes for these fillies and mares?
Well, it was, the stretch out was good to see her go that big one-turn mile and a 16th. So, we'll see. She didn't look tired at the end. Looked like she could keep on going. So, maybe we'll see if we can go a little further with her. But right now, we're just going to enjoy this one.
As you should. Mark and Carlos, massive congratulations here with Come Dancing.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, back to you.
Thanks so much, Maggie. And nice to see Mark Holliday and Carlos get the big win. It is a big win, too. You get it done with Come Dancing. It can be, it's such a great game, very frustrating game, but when you've had as many frustrations, it's nice to get the winner's circle with Come Dancing for those connections.
Yeah, it really is. When you win your first start November 6th of 2016, and then you don't make your second start for a year and 2 months later, I mean, they deserve this. Now 4 for 6 lifetime Malibu Moon out of a Tis Now mare. Tis a hit for Blue Devil Racing, and if you like your Duke Blue Devils, they beat up on the Northwestern Wildcats yesterday, and there's your late pick 5 follow along. This horse is going to help.
Yeah, I'm taking a look right now. You got a $16, about $40. You got a parlay. It's around $125 to $130 right now. That's for $2 in the pick 5. Waiting to see what those payoffs are. Imagine with the favorites right now. Man, I mean, the favorite on the outside is still, it's $320 for 50 cents.
Wow, it's
what did I say that parlay was? For nothing, right?
Yeah.
That's for $2, and the lowest one is $320 for 50 cents. So Naira Bet's pick 5 continues to be the best bet in racing.
It really does, because you have an $87 pick 4 to the 8, and then you're going to get $320, and all you needed was not much in the first leg at all.
No, I agree. We want to send our best wishes to everybody at Naira, of course, to our friend Kendrick Carmouche, who was involved in a spill yesterday at Kentucky Downs, and there you see him, actually, with Carlos Martin. He was injured, I believe, a hairline fracture of his leg. They're saying he should be out for 8 weeks. You hate to see that. Kendrick, hate to see it to anybody.
Yeah.
But Kendrick, a fan favorite and a favorite of ours as well, a terrific guy. He was practically part of the show in Saratoga every time he walked by us, and we want to send our best wishes, and that's from everybody here at Naira, fans and the racetrack alike. Kendrick, very popular, and we look forward to returning at least for Aqueduct.
You talk about Saratoga, they have that pass for the kids. He's the most active guy, and I'm not saying any of the other guys, but Kendrick's the best. He's talking to the kids, taking pictures. Yeah, so speedy recovery for Kendrick.
Absolutely. Manny Franco is the Mount of Wayne's footsteps horse that Kendrick had been named on. The 6-5 right now, and Pipes on the outside, off the turf at a mile and a 16th.
The sloppy racetrack race that this son of Exchange Rate has is pretty good. Smarty Jones did some good running on the bottom side, and this horse did some really good running.
He was pretty good, that Run Happy. He was a very nice horse. Of course, he's standing stud at Claiborne Farm. Run Happy, one of our favorite racehorses. His win in the King's Bishop. I mean, I don't know what you say about this horse. He had a tremendous run winning the King's Bishop, now the Allen Jerkins, the Phoenix at Keeneland, the Breeders' Cup, the Malibu. Sensational racehorse.
He really was. He traveled everywhere he went. You can go beat those horses like he did. The King's Bishop was, to me, still was his coming out party.
I thought his King's Bishop, and that was the year of American Pharoah, might have been the single best performance by any 3-year-old. Obviously, American Pharoah's Triple Crown and his Breeders' Cup Classic, big wins. But to me, Run Happy was second to none. We got plenty more to come here on Belmont Park Live. We've still got the 9th race off the turf. We've also got some more jock talk that's going to be coming as well. We heard from Javier Castellano. Well, Javier won the 7th race. John Velasquez, nice win in that stake race with Come Happy. Come Dancing, excuse me.
Run Happy.
I go into the race to try to do the best I can to win the race, so I'm not surprised if I win it, you know what I mean? You're just more disappointed when they don't run any good, whether you had good odds or bad odds, you think that you have a chance when you're in the race. So I look at it that way, I want to go in to win the race, and to say it's a favorite moment or a surprise moment, no, I want to win every time. Well, before I wanted to be a jockey, I always was interested in finance. Anything with finance, an accountant, or anything that interests me with numbers and stuff like that. That's what I always looked up into in I don't know. I went into the business of horse racing. I don't have it very heavy. I don't do very much. The time that I have off, I try to spend it with the kids the best I can. And in the time that I do have off, I read and I try to educate myself. And I think that's my habit, educating myself and learning new things. You know, I've been reading a book for Warren Buffett. So it's a very recent book that I haven't finished, by the way. But you know, I'm still on that book and learning new things.
His record-breaking accomplishments on the racetrack paved his way here to the Stall of Legends. Now retired to stud, we welcome the dawning of a new era as this esteemed champion hopes to stake his claim to immortality. His blazing speed and striking good looks have been passed down to his remarkable first foals. Foals that will carry the flag of their famous father and one day hope to break records of their own. Medication-free and undefeated in sprint competition. Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Welcome back to Belmont Park Live on a rainy day here at Belmont Park. Andy Serling, Paul Duca, Maggie Wolfendale. She's out in the rain. At least we're covered up here on the third floor.
Yeah, we got the jackets on too, and everybody's been all over Twitter saying
I'm a little tougher than you.
Yeah,
Paul.
you are.
You got the jacket. I'm, you know.
I admit it.
It's kind of an embarrassing moment for you.
I know.
Not even kind of. Twitter, you're getting a hard time on Twitter? Yeah. I probably didn't see them. I probably have all those people blocked and muted, so I don't see them. Well, Kentucky Downs got rained out today in Kentucky. It seems like that five-day race meet at Kentucky Downs, there's a rain out every single year. Right. They're going to bring today's card back on Wednesday. They'll race Wednesday and Thursday. But, man, they had some great stakes action yesterday. We saw 2 of them on the show. 4 of them were graded, and the first grade one we caught in the show, Insta Irma. Nice training job by Richard Baltus and a nice ride by Drayden Van Dyke over a stubborn Valadorna first time in the state on the turf.
Valadorna first time on the turf, put away your favorite, I'm Betty G on the front end. And here comes Instant Irma and the hot riding Drayden Van Dyke. We chronicled here on Saratoga Live when he won 7 races at Del Mar. He's been on a roll, the mentorship of Mike Smith. It's like, you know, when you go into somebody else's pocket that's got hot money and then you start winning. He's been listening to Mike Smith, and he's getting good rides. Instant Irma, that was a big win for her.
No, big win, $500,000 race, $450,000 for the Kentucky Downs Ladies Sprint to Grade 3, and blanket finish here. And even though Lull was the even money favorite, Christophe Clement, a couple cuff beats there. Ruby Notion, who won on a soft turf at Saratoga, course was listed as good, but they were moving pretty quickly over it. Ruby Notion proved that that was not a fluke.
No, not at all. I mean, you can argue Ruby Notion in the Crest ran her eyeballs out. She might have ran better in this race. It looks like she's beat. She's in between horses. She's battling the horse on the inside, the horse on the outside. What a race, what a race that was, and she just outdo Lull down to the wire.
Braille's Appeal and Conti Partiro finished it off. Pro Forma, Kentucky Downs Turf Sprint. Performa had finished third behind a very, very strong horse named Primus at Monmouth last time. He beat the very talented White Flag, and Vici, the third-place finisher, coming back after running just a week ago at Kentucky Downs.
Yeah, this was a big upset here with Performer, you know, and here,
finish.
Yeah, here's the thing. The horse looks like she's dead, and then just gets back on the rail and sort of re-rallies. I still can't believe that the horse came in between horses or down on the rail and sort of got the job done. Yeah. I mean, looked dead as we chronicled the wrong horse there. But only 3 turf starts and gets the job done in a $500,000 race.
Well, 3 of the races were sprints, but they went a mile and a half in the Kentucky Turf Cup. And Arklow, Brad Cox had not had success really down at Kentucky Downs, but he changed all that. $750,000 for Donegal Stable and Arklow getting it done. Good field, bigger picture, and run the Grade 1 Sword Dancer. Soglio and Bronson, horses that finished behind Focus Group at Saratoga.
Another great finish to a race. Again, you think the race is over? Nah, we're going to give you another angle here.
Thrilling race.
The longest stretch. But, yeah, again, another thrilling race. But the horse sticking out his neck, reaching for the wire, and gets the job done. Brad Cox. And how about Flo, the jockey? He won a couple of those big races at $750,000, and there was the whole slate.
Better than Saratoga Meet.
Moonlight
One
Romance,
day at Kentucky Downs.
Moonlight Romance, who we showed, she jogged. Other than that,
every race
the other
was
4
close.
races was a good race.
Well, I mean, the Kentucky stuff, the turf sprint with Proforma, 7 horses within a length and a half of each other at the wire.
Proforma was 20-1 on the morning line. They
Really?
bet her. They bet her.
Well, lost to that very good horse in Primus, who we've seen here actually on our Aqueduct line when we were doing the shows with Gulfstream. So that horse win down there, and that horse is a contender for the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint as well. We've got one race left, Paul. Pipes remains the 6-5 favorite for Gary Contessa. Gary had a terrific Saratoga. Of course, his win in the Grade 1 Spinaway was the biggest moment there.
Yeah, that's what I refer to my arms when I go into the gym. I'm going to go work out my pipes.
All right, you'll be working out your pipes. I'll be in bed reading. That's the way it goes. That's the way we roll here. Going to take a quick break here at Belmont Park Live. Maggie Wolfendale's down in the paddock. She'll be coming back after a short break.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb was the leading freshman sales sire of weanlings, yearlings, and 2-year-olds. On the track, his runners have scored on both dirt and turf, including stakes winners Autumn Warrior and Orvolution, stakes performer Scrapper, and TDN Rising Star Explorer. In the sales ring, his progeny continue to sell well beyond his stud fee, including the $1 million co-sale topper at Saratoga. Classic winner, classic pedigree, Orb, standing at Claiborne Farm.
They're off. Bet the horses anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets.
Rushes out of there to take the lead.
It's easy on your computer or Naira Bets app. Earn valuable reward points on bets. Play in our exclusive promotions and earn cash rebates. Sign up now. Bet $200 and get $200. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. NairaBets.com.
You are tuned to Belmont Park live on this Sunday afternoon as we're here in the paddock for today's last race. 2-year-old New York breds off the turf event as we'll go the mile and a 16th here. And it's time for a paddock report, and as always, brought to you by Hillendale Farms. We'll begin with a horse who is moving from turf to dirt and has experience at least going longer, and that's number 2, Dupes Point. He does add the blinkers here today, and obviously, if this was as it was originally scheduled, I'd be all about Dupes Point. I think he'd be very formidable here. But the fact that he is actually a bigger, solid type concerns me about this track. He does look more of a turf horse. He has more of a turf hoof to him. He adds a shortcut blinker here today. He looks fantastic. Looking at him from the individual perspective, he looks the best here in the field. I'm just concerned about this move to the track here, as we'll also check in with number 4, Wayne's Footsteps, who did absolutely no running, debuting against Open Company back in May on the main track. But since he's come back with a nice effort sprinting on the turf, and given the fact that he, was kind of staying on that day, maybe says yes, he should be able to handle the distance. And I will say, progressively, this horse has actually gotten more and more quiet. It's usually the opposite, but he's learned to relax a lot more in the preliminaries before his races. So that's good. The fact that he does have some speed concerns me with the stretch out. We'll see. I'm okay, actually, him getting back to the main track. But like I said, he's kind of a shaky proposition here, given the conditions, as we'll also check in with Pipes, your current favorite, rightfully so, as he has a good race on a sloppy sealed track, so we'll know we'll handle it. The problem is that was at 5.5 furlongs. This is at a mile and a 16th. Not sure if Pipes is going to be the type that really wants to go long, as he is also fairly keyed up here in the paddock. He is sharp, so he just doesn't scream physically either that this distance is right for him. So really, I'm sorry, Andy, but I feel as though I've answered no questions in regards to this off-the-turf 2-year-old race.
No need to apologize, Maggie. I feel as though the questions remain until they run the race, and I think your point about Pipes, and distance is a funny thing, because I think probably the horse that will have the least amount of trouble with the distance is Dupes Point, but we don't know if this horse is going to handle the dirt at all. And one thing about Pipes, the dirt race this horse ran the first time out off the turf was a very solid effort behind some very good horses and experience in a sloppy sealed track. The distance could be a problem. But
yeah, that's the worry.
The right favorite.
You're right. That's the worry, is the distance. And the horse ran well last time out, getting on the turf with not a ton of turf pedigree, but he got a chance to work the horse over the turf, being Gary Contessa, the trainer. So the mile and 16th is the worry, but the horse to beat basically on at least off the first 2 races. But I see what you're saying with the 2. That mile and 8th race was a good race. That's the race where they start. I mean, there's no fractional times there because the race was supposed to be started at a different distance.
Yeah, Dupes Point ran fine in there. I mean, it wasn't a great effort. It was a very fast pace to close into. But unlike Impassable Odds, who finished just behind him, he was wide, and Impassable Odds was on the rail. But who knows if either one of these or one of them will like the dirt? How much does the turf race really mean when they're on a completely different surface and a sloppy sealed surface? We'll find out. The one Impassable Odds, Tom Morley and Javier Castellano.
This is a horse that ran 4th behind, only 2.5 lengths behind the 2 here. And the 1 and 2 are actually your favorites in the pick 4s, but you're not your favorites in the pick 5s.
We are in favor in the pick 6 as well. The 2 is Dupes Point, Christophe Clement, and Joel Rosario.
Maybe the extra race will help over the 1, but does have 2 good races.
Number 3 is Icy Cash. Dylan Davis rides for Dominic Scatino.
Yeah, blinkers will go on, and I would think this horse will try to show a little bit more speed. Didn't show much first time out.
Manny Franco has the mount on Wayne's Footsteps for trainer Mike Dilger.
This horse's first start, hit the gate, was steady, lost all chance at the beginning, and then ran last time. So maybe we saw the real horse in his last effort.
Speed here today, potentially the speed. Awesome Adversary ran too badly to be true. Eric Cancel riding for Mitch Friedman could be a wild card.
Yeah, it could be a wild card. And this horse had a shoe repair in the paddock. A lot went wrong for this horse first time out, so I could consider this horse a first-time starter in here.
Number 8, Pipes rounds out the field. The current 6-5 favorite for Gary Contessa, and John Velasquez looking for back-to-back wins.
Yeah, look for Johnny V maybe to try to rate or get to the front and try to get there in a slowish fashion, because he's going to try to maybe get everything he can out of Pipes to get the mile on the 16th.
Getting back to the 2 Dupes Point, my biggest concern with this horse is a point of entry. Hold That Tiger Dam. This horse, just the pedigree screams turf to me.
There's a lot of turf in the pedigree, you're right. You know, Point of Entry was such a good turf horse. Dynaformer, those horses usually went both ways, but more turf. And you're right, Hold That Tiger did have a couple of decent dirt horses, but this horses ran the mile and an eighth. I think that's why the horse is your second choice, because the people are thinking, okay, the horses ran the distance, so is the 1. Maybe there's a little advantage there. And you're right. Between the 1 and 2, how can you guess which one's going to like the dirt or not?
That's the thing. I mean, I'm of the 2, the better pedigree for dirt would be Impassable Odds. It's not a screaming dirt pedigree, but it's probably better than Dupes Points. Horse just didn't do much running after breaking 3/4 of a length slowly. Got a fast pace, saved ground, did no running.
No, did none. You know, when you look at this race, you have the 5 and the 6 and scratch. The 2 and the 8 are the only 2 horses that actually have taken money. The 1 was 22 to 1 first time out. The 3 was almost 16 to 1. Wayne's Footsteps, it was 18 to 1 last time. And then you have Awesome Adversary was 62 to 1 basically first time out, and then the 8 was bet. The 2 and the 8 were the only 2 horses that were bet. Now I'm wondering, were those better fields? Now these are weaker fields.
Well, this is just a question mark of a field.
Yeah.
You know, the 4 Wayne's Footsteps, I don't know, maybe Icy Cash will show some speed, but you have to think, I mean, Kendrick's originally on. Manny Franco's got to pick up the mantle. This horse hit the gauge, you point out, first time out, and then showed tremendous speed going 5.5 furlongs to the turf. Wayne's Footsteps, Central Banker, distance a question, but they got to go to the front with this horse.
Yeah, I would think so. And I think the work 2 back even tells you more of the horse is going to the front. I mean, the horse works so slow. It's one of those ones where I'm going to save all the speed for the afternoon. They went back on the turf to get another freshener. But I like that they went on the dirt and got this horse a little bit of a work in. You know, he's getting played. And like I said, his first start, like you said too, just throw it out. He didn't get a chance to run on dirt, so you really don't know if he likes it or not.
Well, Maggie, you didn't answer any questions before. Are you going to answer some now?
Well, what I can tell you is that catching up with Christophe Camont earlier today before he headed down to Kentucky for the sales, he ran 2 horses earlier on our card, and he said to me about, in regards to this race, well, we'll see how the first 2 do. If they run well, then maybe Dupes Point does have a shot. They didn't run well, but we'll see. Maybe Dupes Point can turn the tables for the Clement barn. And Wayne's Footsteps, as you were saying, Andy, looks to be the pace setter in here, and I completely agree, given the warm-up that he got to beneath Manny Franco, who took him away from the pony. He has been active on him since they stepped foot here on the racetrack, kind of waking him up a bit because he was so quiet in the paddock. So I think Wayne's Footsteps could be in somewhat of an advantageous spot here if he can get the distance, which is always the biggest question. Guys?
And it's interesting. I agreed with Maggie's assessment earlier that the track had been playing very fairly, but since we started the show, I guess we all put the hex on that, we've seen speed win the last 3 races. Now, to be fair, Come Dancing was able to control in a slow pace. One was a Chad Brown first-time starter. The other one, Mo Diddley, just took the slot. But I do think maybe as the day's gone on, I don't think we've gotten much rain during the show. Maybe this track has gotten much kinder to speed.
Yeah, it has, and that could help out the 4 a lot in here. Like I said, Wayne's Footsteps, and you're right, that's the horse to catch in here. Where does the 8 sit? Pipes probably right behind, I would think, or close enough.
Here's one for you. Do you know that the sires of Icy Cash, Currency Swap, and Wayne's Footsteps, Central Banker, both greatest stakes winners for Carvage Stables?
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. Central Banker is standing at the McMahon farm up in Saratoga, actually. Great farm. You ever been there?
No, I've not.
It's beautiful willow trees. It's right by Saratoga Lake. It's a terrific farm. They do a great job there. Icy Cash could be a little bit interesting as well. And I wonder if the 3 Icy Cash is a long shot. Maybe Dylan's aggressive with this one, too.
Yeah, you know, Chatino threw in a nice little bullet drill in there, and this horse was not completely, I talked about prices, it wasn't completely dismissed in a spread out field. You know, first to third was 13 lengths. This horse was, you know.
15 to 1, this horse could have been a much bigger price up there.
And Castellano got aboard the horse up there.
Well, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah.
It just feels like 6 horses going postward. They're going to the gate. Our friend John Imbrial has the call of the 9th and final race at Belmont Park.
And we have 2 remaining to load. Awesome Adversary and Eric Consell moving in. The 7 horse moving into the 5th stall. And on the outside will be number 8 Pipes and John Velasquez. John Velasquez, by the way, one of 3 riders in this field going for their 3rd wins of the day. John Velasquez, Joel Rosario, Javier Castellano, all trying to get win number 3 on this Sunday afternoon at Belmont Park. Pipes goes in. We're just about set for the start of the finale. And they're all standing nicely, and they're off. And Pipes broke very well from the extreme outside, is sent right out for the lead, and Wayne's Footsteps is going to go with him. It's Wayne's Footsteps and Pipes right together. The front two have opened up 4 lengths. On Icy Cash in third and Impossible Odds down at the rail in fourth. It's another 4 lengths back to Dupes Point and Awesome Adversary. The field races up the backstretch. Wayne's Footsteps pokes ahead in front of Pipes after a quarter in 23 and 1/5 seconds. A little more than 2 lengths. Back to Impossible Odds down at the rail in third by a 1/2 length with Icy Cash on the outside in fourth. Then it's Dupes Point next in fifth, and Awesome Adversary is the trailer. Wayne's Footsteps is the leader. Wayne's Footsteps 3/4 of a length over Pipes as they head for the far turn. Opening half 47 and 4/5 seconds. Wayne's Footsteps with the lead over Pipes, who's now inching closer on the outside. Impossible Odds just in behind down on the inside in third with Icy Cash alongside. Then Dupes Point. Dupes Point less than 3 lengths from the front. Farther back, it's Awesome Adversary. As they come for the top of the stretch. Pipes on the outside and Wayne's Footsteps on the inside. And the two of them are right together with a 1/4 mile to the finish. Pipes, Wayne's Footsteps. Pipes has the lead now. Wayne's Footsteps is back running in second. Dupes Point's in third. Impossible Odds is fourth, and Icy Cash back in fifth. And now Pipes is pouring it on in the stretch. It's Pipes, and Johnny Velasquez is the rider who's going to get his 3rd victory on this Sunday in New York. Pipes, much the best. Dupes Point was second, then Wayne's Footsteps and Impossible Odds.
Been one heck of a Belmont Park ride for John Velasquez, who won 3 of our 4 races perched outside of Wayne's Footsteps, and Pipes gets it done easily, but a little bit of trouble for Dupes Points. We're not saying Dupes Points would have won this race, but Joel might like to have this one back.
I do not get it. The 2 was completely loaded down the backside, and he tried to go in between horses. The rail has not been good. Just go around horses. Wow.
Tough to lose the momentum with these horses in these situations. Now, I don't think we're saying necessarily the horse would have beaten Pipes, but it could have been a different race if he had swung out and gotten out in the clear and made a smooth run. Does feel like it could have been a very different finish, or certainly a closer finish, but you know what? It is what it is. The 8 Pipes at 8-5 gets the job done. John Velasquez and Gary Contessa as we head to our final break. Belmont Park Live will be right back in a few moments.
Turning for home in front. Coast of New York on the outside. California Chrome is third. Shared Belief laboring back there in fifth. 1 furlong to run. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome on the outside. The 3 of them come to the wire. Bayern, Coast of New York. California Chrome. Here's the finish. Bayern holds on.
How do New York breds perform? They win in world-class company. From Grade 1 races in Dubai, where New York sired New York bred Mind Your Biscuits won the Golden Shaheen for a 2nd time, to Belmont adding to his status as the richest New York bred with a close 2nd in the Met Mile. The Belmont Festival saw 2 more New York breds become millionaires, 4-star Crook in the New York Stakes and world record setter Disco Partner with a repeat victory in the Jaipur. New York breds, get with the program.
back to Belmont Park Live. Maggie Wolfendale, Paula Duca, and Andy Serling. From a chilly, rainy Belmont Park, John Velasquez, just a sensational performance of the show, winning 3 of the 4 legs of the Pick 4. Pipes continues a very good run for trainer Gary Contessa.
Oh, sorry, Andy. I was working on my pipes. It's a 2-year-old colt by exchange rate out of the Smarty Jones.
It's only been
mare.
a 3-day weekend.
Introvert, Gary Contessa, and maybe Johnny V got a little lucky that Joel Rosario decided that Dupes Point was going to run second today.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know, and it was an easy victory, but Dupes Points definitely didn't get the clear run you like to see. I mean, this is amazing.
It is
$320 for 50 cents. Okay, I'm going to do a very quick parlay here. 15, 17, $35, $140. The parlay itself for $2 was around $360.
Pretty crazy.
And you got... So $90. You got over 3 times the parlay.
No, and
Best
listen,
bet in racing.
The Pick 4 paid $81, if I'm not mistaken. So, like shorter fields, you still can take advantage of these.
Yeah, I mean, a 2-to-1 shot won the first leg. Right? A 2-to-1 shot, and you got 4 times. So it's great.
Yeah.
It's a great bet, no doubt about it. You looking forward to next Friday?
Yeah, because we looked at the card. It's a good card, no?
Excellent card.
Yeah.
Excellent card.
Yeah.
Weather's supposed to be nice. Belmont Park Live will resume next Friday. Paul and I will be here. I want to thank everybody for joining us in Belmont Park Live. Everybody here at NYRA, have a wonderful few days. We'll see you back on Friday.